Om Sam Saraswati Namaha. Namaste. Namaste, everyone. This evening we'll see if there are any unresolved issues in the first 100 pages. We've covered a lot of material at a pretty efficient pace, and so let's go and see if there are any questions. Yes, please.
How should I prepare myself to begin puja each day, physically, mentally, and emotionally?
Oh, prepare ye the way of the Lord. Yes, the first thing you're going to want to do is physical, and that means soch. It means you're going to maintain the standards of cleanliness for the worshiper, for the environment, for the area of worship, for the deity, for the utensils with which you'll be worshiping. The first step in every puja is preparation. So to prepare yourself, of course you're going to bathe, you're going to put on clean clothes, you're going to clean the area of the altar, you're going to clean the deity. That's a process called marjan. You're going to clean the utensils, you're going to purify the food, you're going to prepare the prasad, you're going to prepare the flowers, you're going to prepare the way of the Lord. So that there is an opportunity to demonstrate the fact that someone who is respected is about to come into my life. And I don't want to invite them into a mess, and I don't want to appear myself inappropriately in order to greet them. When I greet them at the door, I'm going to greet them with the highest respect I possibly can. So that would be the first step of the physical. Mentally, put yourself in the attitude of the greatest privilege. You're about to get a house call from divinity itself. You have been calling on God to come and visit you for a long time. And today's the day. So put yourself in that attitude that today is my lucky day. She's going to come. Shiva is going to give me darshan. So physically and mentally, emotionally, get rid of all of the racket that's chattering in your brains. Resolve all of those unresolved issues as best as you can. At least put them into a state of abeyance so they won't disturb you. I had an argument with my spouse or my friend or someone, and I want to put that to the side, put it to the back. I got bigger fish to fry tonight. I'm going to have a blast. Shiva's coming to my house. Emotionally, just diffuse all of those tensions that you've been harboring before the opportunity to worship. Now, sit down in a quiet and conducive environment and carry yourself like a great renunciate and make the worship of the Supreme Lord and submerge yourself in the bliss of eternal divinity. Let's take some other questions.
Swamiji, question from Dan from New Jersey.
Namaste, Dan.
Namaste, Swamiji. Can you please speak about what makes the conch such a special offering?
It's a wonderful story. Let me tell you, Shankachura was the king of the Asuras. And he had a relationship with Tulsi from a prior life. Actually, what had happened was in Golok, Tulsi was there, and when she saw Shankha, he was there too. They started looking at each other sort of specially. Krishna got mad and he said, hey, wait a minute, this is not the behavior which is appropriate for Golok. This is not the approach. You go down to the earth and you become an Ashura. This is Ashura behavior. So Shankar said, what will happen to me? He said, don't worry, there's a great destiny in your future. Shankar, Ashura, he became the king of the Asuras, and he married with Tulsi. And Tulsi had done tapasya. She had done a great sadhana. She wanted to marry Vishnu. Brahma came to her and said, you can marry Vishnu, but first you have to marry Shankar. So she went and she met Shankar and they got married. And because of the purity of Tulsi, none of the gods could defeat Shankar. He was the king of the Asuras and he was invincible. So then the Shiva said, I have to find a way to defeat this Shankar. Vishnu, will you go down to the earth and take the form of Shankar and make love to Tulsi? And which he did. And when they were making love, she said, who are you? You're not my Shankar. I can tell in your subtle form you're not the love of my life. You've cheated me. You've robbed me of my virtue, and you've stolen the life of my husband. And Vishnu took his form and said, well, you wanted to marry me. And Shankar and Tulsi said, not like this. That wasn't my desire. That you decree, that you, through your deceit and your falsehood, you robbed me of my virtue and you decreed the death of my husband. I'm a virtuous lady. Brahma sent me down here to be the protector, the shield, the kavach of my Shankar. Anyway, in the battles, of course, Shankar was defeated. And Tulsi said, Vishnu, Krishna, you've robbed me of my virtue. You've robbed me of my husband. And I don't accept being your wife. And Vishnu said, I'll tell you what, I'll give you a boon. Every day when a devotee makes puja, he'll put a conch shell at my feet. And he'll fill it full of water and he'll put some leaves of tulsi in it. And you can stay with the conch shell all day long. And you can be in the arms of your beloved. You can marry with Shankar in the day. Every night when he makes Visarjan of the puja, he'll take up all the flowers, he'll sprinkle the water over my head, and you'll be with me all night. Well, Tulsi was very pleased with this. She said, that's a fine arrangement. I get Shankar in the day and Vishnu in the night. So that's why there's such a holy relationship between the conch shell and Vishnu.
Swamiji, Devi from Atlanta.
Namaste, Devi Ma.
Has a question related to Tulasi.
Yes.
She says, offering Tulasi leaves, would it be good to keep a holy basil plant for this? And if so, where can we learn proper care and worship of Tulasi?
Proper care, you'll have to go to the gardeners. I suggest that you go to the Hare Krishnas, because they like to care for, they do a lot of gardening. And their Tulsi plants they're very strong. Now, the worship of Tulsi, we've given her mantra, and Mother's written a beautiful song for Tulsi. There's many, Om Ang Ring Kling Sring Vrindavan Basinyagi Swaha is her mantra, and there are many beautiful songs and stotrams for Tulsi. So you can learn the worship of Tulsi from us, but if you want to learn the care, how to take care of a plant, I suggest you contact the Hare Krishna organization.
Swamiji, question from Ambika from New Jersey.
Namaste, Ambika Ma.
The difference between the beginner Shiva Puja puja and this one is gigantic. If we want to slowly increase the length of the beginner puja, what do we add first, second, etc.? Thank you.
Ambika, whatever you choose, you add. You can add and build your puja on your own. You have the authority to pick and choose which vidhis feel good to you and feel appropriate for you and feel inspiring to you. So you can pick them and choose them at random. There's no necessity to follow the directions of this book. Now, this book is a very good guide of how to do puja and how to construct a puja. But all pujas are modular. So you can pull any vidhi and stick it into the puja. You can pull any stotram and stick it into the puja. So you can create and design, and actually you will. As all of us, if I give the same book to 10 people and come back in a few weeks, I'm going to find 10 versions of the same puja. And that is as it is supposed to be. There is no one who has the authority to legislate how you should conduct your love affair with God. So this is a manual of things that you could do in order to demonstrate your love for God. It is by no means is it fixed or incumbent upon anyone to follow this recipe. You can put a little more salt, or put a little hing, you can put a little extra masala, you can make it, refine the recipe in your own way.
A question from Nanda from San Jose.
Namaste, Nandama.
Why do we have a yoga technique like Jal Neti in the middle of the puja? Please help me to understand. Thank you.
These are all yogic techniques, Nanda. Everything, every vidhi is a yogic technique. A technique how to come closer into union. What we're doing in this Jal Neti is we're purifying our sinuses, our nostrils, we're purifying the avenues of ingress and egress. So that we can perform our pranayama with greater facility. So that's why before performing the pranayama, it's suggested that we perform the Jal Neti. Yes, please, Bharati.
Could you please explain a little bit more about the pranayama, like exactly what the technique is and what the effects are?
What we are doing in this pranayama is we're inhaling through the ira, which is the left side. So with the left hand, we close the right nostril. And then we close both nostrils and use your guru mantra, or the mantra of the puja that you're performing, in this case, Om Namo Shivaya, and you can count either 10 times or 20 times or whatever you feel is appropriate. And then you'll exhale through the pingala, through the right nostril. And try to expel all of the air. So you're inhaling through the left nostril, you're making japa of the mantra while you retain the breath, and then you're exhaling through the right nostril. And what is going to happen is that the amount of japa that you perform is going to dictate how long will be the next inhalation. And that will empower you to do the same amount of japa, and then it will automatically fix the exhalation. And in this process, you're going to find that you're getting very light, you're getting very bright, you're getting very focused, you see the light, and you feel very, very subtle. Your perception is refined to a position of subtlety. You become very light, almost as though you could levitate. Those are some of the effects. You have a question, Vish?
Yes. A lot of these questions, I want to preface, are questions we've discussed and bits and pieces of on the Yahoo Club. So I wanted to ask you to just expand upon them a little bit more. And there have been many questions about whether one needs to be initiated by a master in order to practice the jop of Om Namah Shivaya or the puja or meditation.
No. Next question.
And
Every one of you is a child of God. No one has the necessity of being authorized to love God. It's your God. Why are we putting up all these barriers and formalities and things like that? When you become disciples, you start worshiping like we worship. We become closer, and our love affair grows, and the energy, the exchange, the transference amongst us grows, and it enhances, and then you become initiated because of the heart connection. And you and the deity and the guru, the example who showed you and explained to you and demonstrated to you and told you how do you do it, you become one because you're all doing the same bob of worship. It's the law of the excluded middle. My guru was a mathematician. He said if A is equal to B and B is equal to C, then A is equal to C. Now, if the guru is equal to God, or he's one with God in worship, and the disciple learns that worship, then the guru and the disciple become one with the deity of the law of the excluded middle. Take a hike. So we're going to get initiated. But the initiation doesn't have to be a formal ceremony. You can't buy an initiation. I mean, you can make a donation to somebody, but you can't buy an initiation. An initiation is a love affair, and it's the culmination of a love affair. It's the celebration of a love affair. And when you're making love, there's this transference of energy, and we all become one, and we understand, we grok it. It's not like you can say, I'm going to go out and initiate 1,000 people today at $20 a pop. Or whatever. I mean, that's not an initiation. But, W.C. Fields said, a sucker's born every day. It's not about the ceremony. Just like your marriage isn't about the wedding. Your marriage is about the heartfelt connection, where you really start shining together. You start bouncing off of each other. Your hearts are vibrating together. You grok each other's presence in your lives. You're working together as partners in a similar common goals and common purpose, working together, shining together, sharing together. Then you've got a marriage. I don't care how many ceremonies you do until you don't have that heartfelt connection. You didn't get married. In the same way, you gotta have heart. You gotta have lots of heart. And you got a heart, and your guru's got a heart, and God's got a heart, and you're all in the heart. Hanuman opened his chest, and there was Sita and Ram inside. He got initiated. So the disciple said to Ramakrishna, give me the same mantra that you gave to Vivekananda. I want to get initiated too. I heard he went into samadhi for 3 days before he came out. Give me that mantra. And Ramakrishna said, hey, first you become Vivekananda. Then I'll give you the mantra. No, you don't need. Shiva is yours. Take the book, start to practice, start to learn, start to cultivate the relationship. You and Shiva, me, Ma, the whole family of devotees of Shiva, and that's the initiation will come. I promise, we'll come to your house when you're worshiping like that. And we will come of our own accord and say, we've come to give you initiation. If in any way it's necessary, probably isn't necessary. You know when we're in love. I mean, you know it. I mean, how many of you have been around? You just don't have to have the wedding ceremony anymore. You know you're in love. Next.
If my mind wanders, one question, if my mind wanders during meditation, what do I do? Second question, if I know it's time to do my puja, but I don't really feel like it, how do I get into it and do it anyway?
First thing is, if your mind wanders, grab him by the scruff of the neck and bring him back here and say, hey, mind! If you want to go on tour, go to the feet of Kali. Hey, mind, I know that you got the boon that no one can keep you from wandering, but if you listen to me, if I have anything to say about where you're going to go, I'm going to tell you something. I'm not moving my knees. You go wherever you go, but my knees are staying here. Come on, mind, help me out and keep my knees on the floor, because I'm sitting in a good place, in a good relationship, in immediate proximity to someone I love very much, and I believe he has no intention of hurting me in any way. He only has blessings for me. So, mind, come back here. Sri Ram Prasad is calling. Mind, come back here. Come back here. Now, second question. You get up, you don't feel like doing puja. Who asked you what you feel like doing? It's not a question of what you feel like doing. We've got a sankalpa. This is my partnership. This is my truth. This is my relationship, the one relationship that works for me. Believe me, I'm going to go out there in the world and listen to everybody else's complaint. I didn't do this right. I didn't give enough. I didn't do it. I didn't do enough. I should do more. I'm a day late and $1 short. Now, this is the one relationship where I'm going to come and he's going to be the same. He's just going to give me a blessing. He's going to say, just be still in the gross body. Be still in the subtle body. Be still in the causal body. Purify yourself. Be with me for a little bit. You can spare a little bit of time for me. You'll be able to convince yourselves. You'll be able to talk yourself into it. Yes, it's time to enjoy the greatest privilege that I can possibly be blessed with the opportunity. That is, I get to sit here with Shiva for a couple of minutes. Thank you.
Swamiji, question on Bhutapsarana from Devi.
Yes?
She's saying that when you were doing this, she thought you might be using rice or flowers.
Yes, Davy, you're right. I use flowers. Some people use rice. I use flowers. And some people sprinkle the rice in all 4 directions. I am very kind to the people who help me clean up after my puja. And I don't make them sweep all the floors every day. So I throw flowers on the altar. And the Bhutas understand. I'm calling upon the good forces to eliminate, eradicate the evil forces. Let the positive get rid of the negative.
Swamiji, she's saying that if the lingam is outside,
yes,
she wants to know if it's okay to throw rice around and if it was okay for the rice to fall upon the ground.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, Devi. This is an offering. I'm offering the good Bhutas to the bad Bhutas. Hey, you guys be at peace.
She's asked, if we do neti with mantra when washing before the puja,
yes,
should we still do neti during the puja?
If you like to perform, it's your choice. It's your puja. It's your love affair. It's your relationship with your God. Now, I'm telling you, these are ways that you can do it. You can do the whole 9 yards. You can do 8 yards. You can do 100%. You can do a little bit. You can do a lot. If you want to do it all, you can do the Jal Neti again and then perform the the pranayama. Devi, when you're doing the Jal Neti every day, it's fun and it's easy and it doesn't take another minute. It's just another way to say, hey, I love you 100%.
Question from Ambika. On page 111,
Yes.
we talk about the establishment of stillness.
Yes.
Om Sarvatita Mayam Vari. That verse. Sarva Deva Samanditam.
Yes.
And there she says that the translation of Sthira Karana does not mention anything about stillness. Can you help me understand how this verse establishes stillness? And if we recite this verse separate from puja, will it establish stillness within ourselves?
Well, the stillness is really in the verse that says, thum, sting, stiro, be established, or be still, be still. In the gross body, the subtle body, and the causal body, and they are linked together. Now, here we're talking about the stillness, tishta devaganaki saha. Tishta means to establish or to make fixed, make firm, make still. So there is the establishment within, is the stillness within. It means when you're established, you're fixed, you're permanent. You're not transitory. You're not temporary. You're still. And in this sense, we're using stillness. Yes, Vish?
Where is there a physical location of each of the different gods that we can worship, gods and goddesses, within our body?
Yes, there is. And there are several. I mean, there are many of them. All of the kavachas are nyasas, which establish the various gods in the various places. Shikayo mutitimbani murmripambastita maladari lalati chabrubo rakshi yashasvi trinitra chabubo madye yam kantachandasike nasikanga sikandacha uttarischa chatartika adare chamatakala jiwayam chasaraswati dantan rakshatu komari kantadeshe tu chandika gantikan chetraganta mahamaya tritalke. There are so many stotrams, kavachas, nyasas that establish different deities in the different places of our body where we can worship. Om Shivaya Gindamari Dakam Pujayami, Maheshwarya Indamo Kantang Pujayami, Vishwabandaya Indamo Skanda Pujayami, Om Kaliya Gindamo Hubahu Pujayami, Om Adhyaya Gindamo Hasta Pujayami, Om Vardaya Gindamo Mukam Pujayami. You go on and on till the cows come home. This is the residence of God. That's what all of these pujas are teaching us. This is the city of the 9 gates, is the residence of God. This is where God lives. This is the temple. So yes, there is a place in the body where you can worship God. Rami,
Question from Anne from Oakland.
Namaste, Anne.
Now, Pranam Swamiji had mentioned that articles are not as important in puja, but more is the point of attentiveness and the heart. But what about sound? I'm living in a place right now where it is more difficult to chant the Sanskrit and mantras out loud. Can you speak a little about this?
Yes. You know, the louder you chant, when you chant it outside, it becomes easier to chant it quieter and quieter and quieter. When you're someone's far away, you got to call loudly in order for them to hear you. Hey, Ma! But when they're so close, you can just look into her eyes, and she knows what your heart is saying. It gets softer and softer and softer. And when you're practiced, you can do it very intimately, very softly. But if you're living in a noisy environment, you're probably experiencing chatter in your own brain. You're probably listening to a lot of noise inside as well as a lot of noise outside. You better go to some place where you can chant it loudly so that you can get quieter and quieter and quieter and hear what you're saying. And then you'll get softer and softer and and softer. Oh, that would be my recommendation.
A question from Prasanna from Phoenix, Arizona.
Namaste, Prasanna.
Dear Swamiji, what is the link between churning the mind and chatter of the mind?
Well, the mind is churning. It means that all these voices are popping up and chattering away. So that's what the two are used interchangeably. You churn the mind, the gods and the asuras, the positives and the negatives are churning the mind, and the mind is going round and round and round, and up pops up this philosophy and that philosophy, and maybe I should live in the city, and maybe I should live in the country, and maybe, did you ever have the feeling you wanted to go, but you wanted to stay? And those are the churning, and that's the chatter, and that's the debate that's raging on, and here I'm saying, oh, Namo Shivaya, should I go or should I stay? Oh, Namo Shivaya. And now here we are, we've got one place that we could sit who is going to be consistent, and he's not going to churn. And all the churning goes around him, never touches him. So the longer we can sit with him and remember Om Namo Shivaya, the less the debate has capacity to infatuate us. In fact, we say, hey, who cares? It doesn't matter if I'm sitting in this Shiva Lingam or that Shiva Lingam. In fact, in the Devi Mandir, there's a Shiva Lingam down there, and there's a Shiva Lingam over there, and there's a Shiva Lingam over there, and you can sit it with all of them. That's why you want to make a goal and make a choice and then choose your venue. Choose your environment wisely so that you have the choices. Otherwise, you're just listening to a bunch of noise outside, and it's just a reflection of the noise that's inside. Because I will guarantee you that if Shrima goes to the urban environment, she won't hear the noise outside. She'll sing just as sweetly and contemplate just as deeply. Yes, please, go, Tom.
Well, it just occurred to me that I have this question about the container of the pot that we established.
You'll have to speak a little louder, please.
Okay. The container of the pot that we established is including everything, the negative forces, the positive forces.
Yes.
And this is a merging of duality and oneness in a sense, but how is it possible that we can establish this and they'll all be in there? Because usually they're like this.
There is unity in the diversity.
Yeah.
So all the diverse elements of creation unite and make a beautiful creation. The positive and the negative, the male and the female, all the various principles unite and they become one. And then God becomes manifest in a manifested form.
Because, of course, this is not the world that we're looking at, which has everything in chaos. It's when they come together that this is an ideal situation.
No, this is the world we are looking at, which is ideal. Those who choose to see the chaos live in chaos. And those who choose to see the unity and the ideal, they live in the ideal.
With everything.
With everything.
Swamiji, Dan is asking, can you please explain what exactly is the causal body?
No. But I can try to talk a little bit about it. The causal bodies is one of those things that you can't explain exactly. You'll excuse me. The gross body you can readily understand. It's tangible, it's empirically perceivable. It's empirically verifiable through your senses. The subtle body is also understandable. I close my eyes and I see it inside, I hear it inside, I imagine it, I dream it, I have a daydream. It's a concept. I perceive the concept. Now the causal body is from whence emanate these subtle perceptions. It is the world of intuition, the world which is verifiable only through meditation. You feel it. Anumati. You can feel the reality. You can't verify it objectively because it's not external. It's metaphysical. So now, if you want me to tell you exactly, I can't. Because it's metaphysical. It's beyond the physical. But you know it. It's called, Kant called it a priori knowledge. You know it intimately. You know it intuitively. You know it within. You know that proposition is true. You don't have to have any external verification. You just know. How do you know when you're in love? Dan, I know you've experienced. How do you know? You can't see it. It's not just the thought, oh, guy, I'm falling in love. It's a feeling and you know it intimately. That's the causal body.
Swamiji, Ananda is asking, can you please explain the difference between puja and part? If I had 1 hour for sadhana, is it more effective to do a puja or a part? Thank you.
Not fair. Not fair. I want you to take 2 hours for sadhana. And do them both. And you see, they're both very, very beautiful performances. They're both practices. However, in the Chandi, Mother says in chapter 12, she says, the same pleasure that I derive from 1 year of puja, I receive the equal delight from the soul who chants the Chandi Pat once. So, chanting the Pat is somewhat more subtle than performing the puja, but caveat emptor. You have to perform a puja before you can recite the Chandi. Even if it's a small puja, even if it's a simple puja, you have to perform a puja before you can perform the part.
Question from Usha from Canada.
Namaste Usha, namaste Neil.
Could you please say a bit more about prana pratishtha? When one establishes a deity or picture on the altar, would one only do it once? If one worships an established deity, would one still perform it?
Yes, perform it every day, Usha. It's marvelous. I'm taking my prana, I'm putting it into her prana, I'm taking her prana, I'm putting into my prana. I take the prana, I put the prana in the deity. I take the prana out of the deity and I put it in my heart. I take it out of my heart and I put it in the pot. I close it with a coconut. I take it out of the pot and I put it in my heart and I put it on a yantra. I take it out of the yantra and I put it in my heart, I put it in the fire. And Usha, by performing prana pratishtha, the establishment of life, I become the prana. The prana is a way of looking at life. It's an essence. It's a subtle essence, and I can feel it becomes tangible. Then you can see the prana. You can see it in the causal body. You can move that prana and give it to the deity and make pratishtha of that prana in the deity, and then take it out of the deity and put it in your heart, make pratishtha of the prana in your heart, and asyi prana pratishthantu. If this is the way we make the establishment of the life and move that prana. So yes, Usha, you can perform. You don't even have to make the pot every day. You don't even have to make a new deity every day. You can just sing the mantras. And you'll feel the prana pratishtha. After a while, you know, if you've been doing, we do the nyasa, we're going to study the matrika nyasanas. Om ang namo, om ang namo, om ing namo, om ing namo, om ong namo, om ong namo, om ring namo, om ring namo, om ring namo, om ring namo, om ang 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 namo. After a while, you just call off the names. You call off the letters. You call off the deities, and you can feel the sensation. You can feel it just vibrates in that location. You're touching yourself without moving. It's the subtle touch. So yes, in the same way, after a while, you do the pran pratishta, you Om Mang Yang Ring Rang Yang Rang Lang Wang Chang 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 Mong Sa Om Namah Shivaya Prana Iya Prana. And I'm establishing life. Every time I recite those mantras, I can feel it, I can see it, I can breathe it, I can imagine in my mind's eye that consciousness, that prana is awakening in consciousness. Yes, do it. Bish?
Is there such a thing as a mistake doing puja? And
Sure.
And if so, how do I correct it?
Well, at the end of every puja, there's an errors and omissions clause. Aparada sahasrani kriyanta harmini shamaya daso yamiti mang makwa shamashwa parameshwari. Maaf kijiye. Maaf karna padega. You have to forgive me, you have to excuse me, because you know I'm doing the best I can, and I'm trying to serve you, and yeah, I make mistakes every day, every puja. So what? What I'm counting is how many I got right. I'm not worried about how many mistakes I made. Can you imagine, Shiva, I said your name today, even once? I said it correctly. And that's why I say it 1,000 times, because I might get it right once. And you'll have to excuse the rest, but you know I'm trying to say it right. So, yeah, if you make a mistake, surely it's possible. It's not only possible, it's probable that you will make a mistake in the worship. You flub the mantra, you forget the last line, you mix two mantras together, you drop the water, you kick over the can, you knock over the light, somebody sets their hair on fire. You can do anything. There's innumerable mistakes that you can make in the form of worship. But how many did you get right? That's the question. I'm trying to the best of my ability. And I really want to do this to the best I can, Shiva. So please, teach me a little bit better. Make me remember a little more. Yes, please.
Swamiji, a very urgent follow-up question from Nanda.
Okay.
Please, Swamiji, please. What makes a part more special than a puja?
Oh, I can't say. I'm only quoting scripture. Nanda, in the pot, we are focused and we are still. We are not moving. There are no external objects. There are three things in existence, and possibly four. The three things are me, the worshiper, you, the worshipped, and you, the scripture that I'm reading to you. There's only three of us that exist right now. And some days, for some people, the firebugs like me, there's a fourth thing, there's a fire. So then there's me, the scripture, the fire, and the deity. Now in puja, there is the kumkum and the sindur and the chandan and the haridrang and the akshatam and the bhog nevedyam and the flowers, and this flower goes here, that one goes over there, and this water goes here, and that one goes over there. And there's this complex web of interaction which keeps me focused in various parts of the altar, in various relationships with the deity. It's a form of avaya yoga, where we look at the one hand of the deity and we look at the other hand, and then we see the astra and the shastra and the flower and the mudra and all the different elements of the deity, and then we see all of her. Well, in part, we see all of her, not just the one portion or the other portion, the one ang and the other ang. We see her.
And Usha is asking, is that true for any part or just the Chandi?
No, it's true for any part. It is true for any part. But before you perform any part, you are required, it is incumbent upon you to perform puja. Now, it may be panchopachar puja. Well, panchopachar means how many objects that you offer. So panchopachar, Krishna said in the Bhagavad Gita, pushpam patram toyam phalam yome bhaktya prayachati. Whoever offers me a flower, a leaf, some water, or a fruit, they are my devotees. Now, and then there's panchopachar puja, there's light and incense and water and a fruit and a flower. Now that could be your puja. I'm not here to legislate. That could be your puja. We perform rajopachar puja, which means that, we give the everything but the kitchen sink. Yes, please.
Well, in the introduction of the Chandi, we go through the offering the flower even though we don't have it. Is this considered puja?
Absolutely. You're offering flowers from the Garden of Delight. Doesn't mean that you grew them yourself, but you grew the devotion. So you're offering in the beginning of the Chandi, the first thing you offer is a light, then you offer incense, then you offer chanda, camphor, and then you offer flowers, and you offer water, Om Vishnu, Om Vishnu, Om Vishnu. You offer akshatan, you put rice on top of the flower to make your sankalpa, and a leaf of tulsi. These are all forms of the puja. You are performing puja as soon as you take the sankalpa. The sankalpa is taken in the bhava of puja. And now do the pot. Now, the way we structured it in the Devi Mandir is first perform the cosmic puja. And then sit down for the Chandi pot. However, if you're going to work in 15 minutes, well, hey guys, we're selling indulgences. You are blessed. You are blessed. Do it. Do what you can. Do what you can. There's no mistake. Love God your way, the best you can. You've got a limited amount of time. You can't offer everything but the kitchen sink. Offer him a flower. Offer him a glass of water. If there are no flowers around, then offer whatever you got to offer. Or put your whole self in. That's what they meant when they said all in.
When you do the Achamana, O.K. Shivaya Namah, you're using water. Is that in place of something else?
No, that is actually, you're supposed to use water.
What does it mean?
It means that I'm washing my lips, I'm washing my mouth, I'm washing my hands. Only consciousness will be spoken through these lips. Only words which inspire consciousness will be spoken through these lips. And then I wash my hands afterwards. Yes, please.
Swamiji, Devi has a question about Vibhuti.
Vibhuti, yes.
A sacred ash, when it's placed on the lingam, and can it be done at all pujas? What mantra is used?
Do you know, I use the Bhashma Snan mantra for Vibhuti. It's the Triyayusham Jamadagne. Kashyapasya Triyayusham Yodeveshu Triyayusham Tanno Astu Triyayusham. You'll find it in the 6th chapter of the Rudrastadhyaya. And it comes from Yajurveda. And it means that it's the blessing of Vibhuti.
Question from Usha. I always thought that red powder is kumkum. Why do we have to give both sindoor and kumkum?
There are two different colors of red, two different shades of red. There are two different kinds of powder. The sindoor has a little lead and mercury mixed with it, and the kumkum does not. So it's more like an abhir is what we call it. And the kumkum washes off very quickly, and the sindoor sometimes is a little sticky. So we offer them both. This is called Raj Upachar Puja. We're offering as much stuff as we possibly get our hands on. It all goes to her. We give her a comb and a mirror and a fan and a chummer. We whisk away the fly whisk, the umbrella, cloth, ornaments, conch shell ornaments, golden ornaments, silver ornaments, flower ornaments. Usha, as much as we can possibly do, because that enhances our capacity. Stay there a little longer with somebody I love and give her a little more to show her how much I love her. Yes, Fish?
If there's time tonight, would you please review the process of the Gayatri meditation as we go through the puja, where we have the mantras and bring up the energy through each chakra?
Well, certainly. The Gayatri, of course, is the wisdom of the three Shaktis, the three energies, all Uma, Mahakali, Mahalakshmi, all the threes are united in wisdom, in the song of wisdom, and Bur in the Muladhara, that's a gross body, gross perception, that's tangible. It gets the Bua in the subtle body, in the Swadhisthana, that's more subtle, it's a concept. Swa in the Manipur, it's the causal body. Maha, it means all that is possibly manifest, all that is possibly empirically perceivable. Now, you go to the ends of the Milky Way. That's a lot that you can perceive. And that's the beginning of what's out there beyond the Milky Way. This isn't the only galaxy in the cosmos. So this is the Maharlok. All that is potentially perceivable or empirically verifiable. Janaha, all that is potentially knowable. So all those things, all those forms have names. So the Maharlok is Roop and Jana Lok is Nam. The names correspond, all the knowledge that corresponds to the forms. Janaha, Tapaha is the realm of light. All that knowledge dissolves into the light, and the light dissolves in the Agya Chakra into Satyam, Sat Chit Ananda. So this is the meditation of Gayatri, Bur Bhuva Shva Maha Janaha Tapa Satyam. Take all the light of wisdom, all that peace, all that truth, true consciousness and bliss, Satchitananda, from the Agya Chakra and put it into the Vishuddha Chakra and put it into light. And that light permeates the ether, and it's the light of knowledge, it's the light of devotion, it's the light of wisdom. And then take that light and put it into the Janarlok and put it into all knowledge. I'm illuminating all the names of all the objects. And then take that names and then let them dissolve into the Maharlok, all manifested existence. And take the Maharlok and put it into all that manifested existence, everything that you can see, into Shwa, and which is all that you can know through intuition, and then into Bhuva, into all that is known through concept, all that I can dream, all that I can think of, and then put it into the Burlok, and then that's all that I can empirically experience myself. And that's the meditation of Gayatri. Yes, please.
Swamiji, a question from Vidya from Malaysia.
Yes, namaste, Vidyama.
Sorry for the silly question,
There are no silly questions.
but when we perform worship in any way, does too much and too little apply here?
Every time we sit down, yes,
Or can we just do as much as we can?
we can just do as much as we can. Was that enough? Was that too much? Was that too little? The debate rages all the time. Did I put the flour in the right place? Is it too much to the right or too much to the left? Did I put too much water in the pot or did I put too little water in the pot? There is too much and too little enter into every aspect of our life, Vidya. And there's nowhere where they're not. All we can do is harmonize them, pray to them. Hey, guys, be happy, be content. I'm not worried about, is there too much water or too little water? I'm not worried if the flower's in the right place or in the wrong place or the left place. I just want to be with Shiva. So, yes, too much and too little will follow us to the puja. And pretty soon, after a while, we'll just be able to silence them. I've got this puja down. That flour goes in the right place, the same amount of water goes into the pot, the same amount of everything is used. I optimize my usage. Even in puja, it becomes the epitome of efficiency. And sadhu means someone who's efficient. They get the optimum amount every time, and that's called sadhu. Om Sam Saraswati Namaha. Namaste.